Welcome back to the channel, Sports Forensics and Picks. I'm Matt Corbett alongside John Patterson. Welcome back. Today we are discussing the full slate, Week 1, NFL Sunday, and couldn't be more excited about it. You excited about it, John?
I'm fired up. Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's just go into some games here, and I think we're gonna go through at least through them all and discuss them to an extent. First game I have here, Arizona Cardinals traveling to Buffalo, +6.5 for the Cardinals, -6.5 for the Bills, and the Cardinals, the underdog, +45 or 245, excuse me, on the money line.
Matt, that money line's actually moved. It's gone up. So I actually had thoughts that Arizona might be able to pull off an upset, and they still can, but that it might be a little bit more scheduled, like if for lack of a better term, without making it sound like it's a fixed game or anything.
Right.
But to go up to 245 at 6.5, I'm gonna pivot on any chance that I'm gonna bet the upset on the money line. But I do like Arizona and the points, and I know that you were pretty bullish on that too. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm a Bills fan, so and I'll actually be at the game tomorrow. I'm excited to see Marvin Harrison Jr. take the field. That'll be fun. But for the most part, I think the Bills are probably a little overrated this year. And my pick for the game, I don't know if everyone knows this, but I have another channel, Corbett Claw NFL. I'd make every pick of the NFL season, and I even predict the scores, and I usually do pretty darn good. This week, my score prediction is 24-20. The Bills winning, so they do win, but they don't cover the spread. So my pick would be Arizona Cardinals plus the 6.5.
Good. All right, we're on the same page. And the reason I liked them to win was because of your aforementioned Marvin Harrison Jr. The dude's a legacy, and so people like that, tend to win their first career NFL game. I'll use my first NFL game pick on someone else then later. But yeah, I also really like those points, 6.5 strong.
I already know you're going with a quarterback, aren't you? What game are you talking about? Let's talk about it right now.
Okay, fine. The Chargers.
Okay.
Jim Harbaugh. It's his first game coaching the team. He's got to win. He's already played in a Super Bowl against his brother. I mean, the Harbaughs are no joke. I mean, they are full on NFL products. And so
Yeah.
I expect them to beat the Raiders. And it's not fair that the Raiders can come into LA on Harbaugh's first game and not only just have more people in the fans or in the stands, which they will probably have, but if they win, that's just going to start off his era on a bad note, and I don't see that happening. So I'll take the Chargers.
Yeah.
To take them on the points. The money line's not that terribly tough. I mean, I'd rather just take them laying the points than take, like, say, a -180 and bet 18 for 10. I'd rather just not bet them at that point. So I'll just take the Chargers with confidence that they're going to take care of business and they're going to score some points, even though they're going to run the ball a lot. That's what I got for you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I'm not sure if the line moved at all. It is -3 right now on DraftKings. The Raiders are a +130 money line. Over under is only 40 points, so that's interesting too. So, like you said, running that football, but I'm on the Chargers as well. I have them winning the game, outright. Let's see what score. I picked them 31-22. The Chargers.
Oh, wow. Well, check this out. This game opened at 4.
Oh,
A long time ago. I mean, maybe not this week, but now I'm seeing it at 3.5. So I see most people having to lay the hook. When you mentioned DraftKings, that's really more of an individual. It's the like Joey Batter will go on there and play. I mean, everybody knows the Raiders own the Chargers, and so I could see why it would go down to 3, but I don't think you're going to find 3 anywhere in Vegas. So
okay. So
anybody out there that might be in Vegas, or they have Vegas Jake, send a shout out to my nephew Kyle. He's out there right now. Let me know in the comments, but I say that's at least got to be 3.5. And by kickoff, I expect the Chargers to be 4-point favorites.
Interesting. All right. Well, why don't I go ahead and go on a better site? No offense to DraftKings, but what would you recommend, John? Check out like Bovada.
Well, I like to use Bovada.lv, and the reason why is because they get people from all kinds. They're offshore from Malta. They've been around forever. They got a great reputation. I've always worked real well with them, and so I trust their lines. They're all about the game, and they're all about the gamer. So they're better than even really anything I have access to in Vegas.
Okay. Well, then that with Bovada, I'm not creating an account right now. They want me to create an account in order to see the lines. So I'm just in VegasInsider.com right now. That should be. I
There you
mean,
go. That's even better because although you almost have access to too many because they're all going to change within a half
yeah.
point. Some are going to have prices different. Some will have a half point here or there. But yeah, what do you got for like consensus or anything like that
For what that? What do I like
for
to?
the Charger game? Is there like
Oh,
a consensus or what are you seeing everybody laying in
um,
Vegas?
it, it's all three except for one, 3.5. There's one 3.5, and the other 10 are like three. So it looks pretty common for a 3 point line right now.
Interesting. What's the price on the 3 points?
It's -110 both
Oh,
ways.
geez. Oh, wow. All right. Well, tell you what, I might just have to back away from the Chargers and just be a fan about this game. Serious.
Hey,
When the
you
money's
gotta make.
moving like that, I don't like it. I just simply don't like it. The money's not moving in a direction that makes me comfortable. I
Oh,
mean,
I,
if it were Chargers -5 now,
mhm.
I would be really excited about it. See how it's kind of backwards a little bit?
Oh yeah,
Um, so yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
yeah,
Unless you have a say on that. Did you like
yeah.
the Raiders? Are you into the Chargers? I still think there's no way Harbaugh loses that game, but don't make me bet another game where, oh well, yeah, they won, but they didn't cover when it's only 3 points. Let's just stay away from garbage like that because we just end up with egg on our face.
Yeah, I hate that when that happens, that hook. But it's interesting because we just started the video with our two favorite teams, and let's blow through some games here because I don't want this video to be 50 minutes long. Um,
Exactly.
Jaguars
Nobody
and
does.
Dolphins, yeah, of course. Nobody wants to hear us drone on about nothing. Jaguars and Dolphins. Dolphins at home, 3.5 point favorites. Originally, I thought this could be a close game, but I like the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins to win by like 10 points. Any take on that, John?
Uh, well, I don't know the identity yet of the Dolphins backfield. Because last year, I mean, we had 20 touchdowns scored by Mostert, and he's been basically an afterthought this whole year. They went and drafted that stud rookie. I think Shane is the guy, but I
Yeah.
mean, it might be such a timeshare that team has a real hard time getting a game one chemistry. So I'm not going to bet this game, but if anything, I would be more tempted by taking Jacksonville on the points. And the reason why is because I think they got a better coach. Even though I like the nerd in Miami, I think they have a better coach. They're probably going to have a better scheme. They got a better idea of how they want to attack the other team. And I just think you have too many individuals on Miami, and so I'd be more tempted to take Jacksonville just because of their full on approach to things and not just a bunch of great talented players that are high octane. I mean, but having said that, Miami might go out there and put up 50 points. So I'm just gonna kind of say enjoy the game to everyone, but I did expect it to be pretty close.
All right, Atlanta at home against Pittsburgh, 3.5 point favorite Atlanta. The Falcons, Kirk Cousins in town is the new starting quarterback. Bijan Robinson, the running back, is entering, I think, is his second year, and I think this Drake London, Kyle Pitts, this offense could be pretty good. I like Atlanta in this game, 3.5 point favorite. Originally, I was on Pittsburgh, but I just don't think Pittsburgh has enough. I don't think they have enough on defense. I don't think they have enough on offense. I think Russell Wilson's probably entering the game management phase of his quarterback years, unfortunately. Um,
Ouch.
we'll see what happens. I mean, you never know, but it wouldn't be surprising. I mean, if this team's 2-5, week 7 or week 8, it's Justin Fields time, So,
I I like that, but I'll tell you why you're the host. You are so good with your words. I would have just went out there and said, "Yeah, we all know Wilson sucks." and that his days are numbered.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe he has some, perhaps he vibes well on a just as on a personal standpoint with the coach and the organization, because they're both pretty well grounded and all that. But I don't think, I think Fields kind of exposed himself as a non-passer, and I don't know how that's going to be, but I do like Pittsburgh. I'll take the points in this. I'll take those 3.5, because I think Pittsburgh's defense can be enough to just really stymie uh, Cousins with a bunch of new players and a new system and a new coach.
Mhm.
And I also like the fact that I think the backfield of Pittsburgh, they can punch you in the face with it. They can pass. I just think that they have a lot of ways they can go, and I think that with maybe Wilson does get a bone thrown his way to kind of make him feel comfortable and solidify those aforementioned 5 or 6 weeks as the starter, because yeah, we think it's not gonna end with him.
Yeah. Yeah. It starts with
Give me
them.
give me Pittsburgh and the points.
Heard. All right, Giants. The Giants and the Vikings. The Giants are a 1 point favorite in this contest. I'll let you lead off on this game, John.
Well, I'll take the Giants. I don't like the fact that they're not favored by even close to home field advantage. 1 point, call it a pick 'em. But everyone in New York just watched Saquon Barkley put up 3 scores and
Hello.
30 whatever fantasy points. They're not happy that their guy's gone, and they need to win that first game. They really need to win that first game. So I'm looking for Daniel Jones to actually have a great game.
Wow.
I don't know who's going to step up beyond that, so you're probably going to see him running a lot. I see them having a big game, and again, they have a new quarterback in Minnesota as well, so they're on the road. They haven't really showed that they can gel. I didn't see too much of them in preseason. And Jefferson's kind of a diva. If he's not getting the ball enough, you don't know what could happen to that team. But I do like Aaron.
Jones.
I like Jones, their new running back. I just don't know how they're going to use him. They probably won't use him enough. And if that's the case, they're probably going to fall short. So I'll go ahead and just go with New York, because they need to win, or the natives are going to get restless. Hi, Coco.
Coco agrees with the Giant pick, and it started at 1. It's 1.5 now, so I'm sorry about that. But I agree with that. I think I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones, but hey, he got paid, so he's good to go. Aaron Jones could be fantastic. We don't know yet. Backed up by Ty Chandler. Jefferson's a stud, but like you said, JJ McCarthy going down for the season was a huge loss in my opinion, and frankly, I just don't know where Minnesota goes from here. So I'm looking for it to be kind of a bad season in Minnesota.
Ouch.
What
else you got?
What else we got? So next game is the Panthers and the Saints. Saints are a 4.5 point favorite. I thought this game was in Carolina. Let me double check. No,
it's in New Orleans.
New Orleans. So
Nolans, as you say.
Nolans. So 4.5. So it opened at 4.5. It's actually down to 4, and in some places 3.5 at this point. And originally I was leaning towards Carolina in this football contest, but I just think Carolina's not that good. I mean, I know these teams play each other, tight usually, but I like the Saints in the dome now that that's confirmed. I think they got a high-powered offense possible with Derek Carr. I don't know if he's going to really, become the guy we're thinking he was going to become or not, but we'll see. And on the flip side of things, you have Bryce Young and, just a Carolina Panther team that just really doesn't have a lot of weapons, honestly. So they really don't scare me. I think the covering, 3.5 points is easy. So
3.5. I thought it was 4.5. No.
Yeah, let's see. Did I fuck that up? Yeah, so it started at 4.5 and it's down to 4, and in some places 3.5. So 3.5.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, then the money's going in the direction of the pick that I liked, and that's Carolina. So give me the points. Look what their new quarterbacks. Look at their new coach. That what they got the same guy that made Baker Mayfield. It saved his career in Tampa. And yeah, Bryce was abysmal as a rookie, but he had nobody to throw to. He got
Right.
sacked 5 million times. They just added 2 studs to their offensive line, so they're going to keep him upright. And okay, yeah, they're on the road. That's why I say, fine, give me the points. But they may go in there and upset them, and Bryce Young just might be one of the number 1 waiver pickups in week 2. So I'm looking for him to show finally something.
Right. Yeah, I like
So
that. I mean, hey,
that's what I got.
if not now, when, right? The next game,
Exactly.
yeah, the Patriots and the Bengals. So the Bengals are actually at home. This line is interesting because I had it at 9.5 at some point. It shows here that it opened at 8.5, and it's now 7.5. Bengals minus 7.5 at home against the Patriots, and I like the Patriots in this game to cover that. I don't like them to win, but I like them to cover that spread. I don't know what's going on with Jamar Chase at this stage of the contest, if he's going to play or not. But have you heard anything about that? Not that that necessarily matters that much.
Well, he's expected to, but here's what I don't like. Now, let me say one thing about this game. This is my from preseason when the lines first came out months ago. This was my look out. This could be the Eliminator Challenge upset that takes out 60% of the players in week 1. We've seen it happen before. We have a new head coach in New England. Maybe he wins his first game, but I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm just saying that the Bengals are not a good pick 'em play. Yeah, okay, I could see them covering the spread easily, but I don't like, for being that I loved New England and the 9.5 it opened at, to go down 2 full points before game day scares me to death. And this could just be what I'm going to use one of my 101 terms. A lot of people could have their toes cut off, because it could be an 8-point game where Cincinnati wins by 8, and yeah, they end up winning and they advance in the eliminator, whatever, Survivor Challenge. Who cares? It's for nerds like me. But it could go down to 7, and it could stay at 7.5. Who knows? But this is one of those games where there's so much movement early that if anything is, cheesy about the game at all, it might just be where the people that are late on that might get their toes cut off. The early money, gets the worm. The rest of them kind of get burned by it. I don't think that the only bet I would take on this game, to be honest with you, would be New England with the upset on the money line. And that's just because the biggest favorite on the sheet is the Bengals, and I'll give the new head coach thing maybe a vote of confidence. They just lost Belichick, who is the leader of that whole Patriot nation, and so kind of like New York Giants. It's one of those pity parties, and so I'm not going to invest too much of myself in the pick, but I'm just saying beware of the Bengals. But since the money's gone away from them, I don't see them covering 10.5, but they might just cover all bets. That's another term for you. So the Bengals might go out there and win by more than 10.5, but they couldn't stop money from coming in on the Patriots, given the fact that the Patriots have such a great fanfare, and the fact that they have the new coach, whatever. But 2 points, I don't see that Joe Better put that much on them. I don't think that there's that much demand at all for it to move that much. So I'm just going to kind of take a back seat on this one as well.
And John, just for your information, I'm showing the Patriots money line is plus 320. And that game looks like right on ESPN, it's at least listed as 7.5. So, that's interesting, but
yeah, I don't trust any line that ESPN puts out, because those usually come from their Fan Nation thing, and ESPN is the largest contributor to what I like to call better fraud.
That's how they get
Joe. So whatever the big headline is, whoever's going to have this huge game in the morning that you see on their screen, bet the other way, and you should be safe. And I'm telling you that the day before, because that's just what they do. They influence so much opinion. The opinion minions, I call them. So
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
fantastic.
so I'm just going to look for an upset. Not that I'm betting it because I'm not. I'm just saying it's the type of game that could wipe out 60% of the people in the survivor pools because Vegas does not want you in a survivor pool because you bet once and never again until you're eliminated. So oftentimes they'd like to eliminate as many people as they can. And when it's the biggest favorite on the board, then oftentimes they tend to get the most money bet on them as well in certain ways. But um, I've touched on this one too much, so
Heard.
that's what I got.
Speaking about that, John, the next game is the oh man, I forgot exactly what I was going to say. I had something beautiful to say. The next game. Oh, speaking of upsets and what people, everyone's really been really high on the Bears right now and excited about Caleb Williams and that offense. They
Yeah,
opened as a 4.5 point favorite against the Titans, and that line has moved down to 3.5 at this point. And I was originally on the Bears, but as the more I thought about it, I felt like this is a Joe Better trap game, and I actually like Tennessee money line to upset the Bears.
nice. I love the fact that we totally disagree. I want to
Really?
see Caleb Williams. He's a former Heisman. I expect them to cover all bets, or at least I hope they do. We still aren't going to see the 1A or 1B, however you want to consider DeAndre Hopkins. I do like Will Levis. When he was in college, he was awesome. I mean, he's got an amazing arm. I don't know how their running game is going to be. I really like Spears.
Yeah.
They brought in Pollard. I think Pollard's going to go back to the scat back B guy. He's a beta. He definitely isn't a between the tackles guy. Spears has speed and power. I like him. And so, but having said that, I also like DeAndre. Uh, give me some Swift because that dude's a major pass catcher. He didn't get to catch the ball at all last year
Yeah.
because he had people like AJ on the team that were crying out about not getting the ball too much, so he never got any love. But when he was in Detroit, he was more of a catcher than he was a rusher. And this is a guy that went off for 190 something yards on the ground without catches last year on Monday night. DeAndre Swift is very, very underrated. A lot of people are sleeping on him. I'm not. Caleb Williams is the real deal. We just haven't seen him yet. I don't know if Keenan Allen's going to play, but they've got they drafted first round. They got a stud wide receiver. I'm in a car, so his name escapes me, but they still have a decent, serviceable tight end, and of course they got DJ Moore running deep routes and fades. I look for that in a very good, decent defense. So I think the Bears could cover just all bets.
Yeah, well, that's a great take. And honestly, I think Tennessee's not that great of a football team. It's just more of an instinct pick for me this week with them beating the Bears. But
And that's what scares the crap out of me.
all right, let's
The gut calls are the gut knows, and when it comes to food, the nose knows, but when it comes to sports betting, it's all about the gut. And so, you know what, you and I are going to have to put $1 on this one, you and I. So
sounds good.
I'll give you those 3.5.
I think I owe you a buck from what was the college football video, or maybe to me,
Yeah.
or was that the Nicholls State? It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. We got the Texans and the Colts. Uh, and this is a great divisional matchup. It's in Indy. Houston is the favorite. This opened at 1.5. It's showing, but now Houston is a 3 point favorite. This is a very interesting game. Originally, I was thinking, hey, the Colts look pretty good. They're home, but I just feel like the Texans have so much, and I'm gonna go with the Texans here. Um, Even though they're on the
It's hard. It's hard for me to put up a case against the Texans, but here go. Jonathan Taylor, last year he had all that contract dispute. He wasn't happy. They weren't happy with him. The Colts could look nothing but stupid, and they did, and they played that way. He came back, whatever. But he ultimately got paid. So this entire offseason, he's been on the same page with the team. Richardson's a stud quarterback. He's healthy. They have a great offensive line.
Mhm.
They are going to control the clock. And so with as strong of a running game as they have, they're going to convert to points on, I believe, the majority of their drives. While they're doing that, they're keeping the high-powered, high-octane passing and receiving game of the Texans off the field. I'm not really big on Mixon. I think they just kind of let him walk in Cincinnati because he was, we
Long in the tooth.
they have other weapons that they'd rather feature. But I think that's keeping those guys. I don't think they're going to find a rhythm. I think on the road, the Texans are going to have a hard time finding a rhythm. So I'm going to go ahead and take Richardson in Indianapolis. Coming back, I'm going to go with them in this one.
Wow.
As much as I love
Great
the
analysis.
Texans.
Yeah. Wow. In one of my fantasy leagues, I have C.J. Stroud at quarterback, and then my 2 starting receivers are Nico Collins and Tank Dell. I took 4 running backs in a row in the first 4 rounds, and then I was able to get those guys. They just kind of crammed them in. Anyway, moving on. That's a little side piece for you.
You got some high scoring weeks ahead of you, that's for sure.
Well, let's see. Broncos. We already discussed the Chargers 4 o'clock game. Other than that, this is the start of the 4 o'clock games. The Broncos and the Seahawks. So this line opened at 4.5. Seahawks a favorite. The money has continued to move in the Seahawks direction. It's now -6 for the Seahawks. So, say what you will, but I think this is just very
well. In preseason money, it actually did open at 6.
Oh, did it?
And I did see it at 4.5 earlier in the week, and now you're saying it's back at 6. It sounds like they just, I guess they had a lot of money coming in on Denver. And I like Denver. I like those 6 points.
Train.
Bo Nix.
No.
Bo knows football.
Bo knows.
Don't nix him from your parlay. No, nix him from your parlay. Oh boy, that makes sense. But I do like him. I like him. 6 points is a lot. I don't think there's anything too flashy about Seattle, and that's really kind of what makes them so dangerous. Geno Smith's still got a cannon of an arm. He showed a couple years ago that he's really no joke. They're bringing in the younger, faster guy. In Njigba, if I'm saying that right. But he's going to let him know. Mm-hmm. He's going to let him know. And of course you still got, the fastest player in the NFL. Remember when he ran an entire field to tackle the guy on a pick 6? Good Lord. I do think Seattle's got a lot, but 6, I'll take the points in this one. I want to see what Nix has to do. There's a reason that they took that 3 quarterback competition that they had and settled it after the first week of training camp. So Bo Nix, it sounds like Sean Payton got his guy, and I think that you're going to find people like Cortland Sutton, these guys, they're just going to have some really, really good years. I think Javonte is going to be catching the ball in a lot of dink and dunks. He's just basically going to be the 2.0 version of I want to say Kamala. Why do I want to say Kamala Harris? Boy, that's who I'm talking about over in Nolens.
Nolens, yeah.
Kamara. His new name's Kamala because she's just on my mind. I think she's so attractive and sexy, and she's so eloquent when she speaks, especially when she's drunk.
Oh God.
Anyway, but no, Kamala. I'm a Kamara. He's like a new version of Kamara. So let's take those points, because it's more important that we give takes on what's gonna happen and not based on what has happened. This is what I see happening. I think Bo Nix is gonna be a great quarterback on that team, and they've needed one, because let's face it, even Manning wasn't a great quarterback. Shut your mouth. He won a Super Bowl, but he wasn't a great quarterback. That team was designed to win, and they won on their defense. Even the MVP of the Super Bowl was Von Miller, for crying out loud. It wasn't Manning. He was that bad of a winning quarterback. So, let's take the points.
Denver 27-24 over Seattle. You heard it here first.
All right.
Outright win. All right. Next game is the Commanders, the Commander in Chiefs. No, the Commanders and the Buccaneers. This is a 425 kick, and the Commanders are a 4-point dog. The Bucks four. At least that's when where it opened. Is now a 3.5. Um, do we know what we're going to get from the Commanders in this game? I'm not sure we do. I mean, who is this quarterback? Is he going to be is he a
Daniels?
I mean, is he built for college? I know he can run, but I mean, how is he going to translate to the NFL, you think? Can they be successful with him? You know,
Well,
questions at the running back position for this team. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with Washington here, but I think the safe pick is the Bucks for me, -3.5.
okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking Washington, and here's why. You said we don't know how it's going to shake out over there. Is their new quarterback? He's a runner, yeah, but I don't think he's going to be a runner on this team. I think he's going to be the type of guy that is able to escape and scramble and move the chains when he has to on third down. But this team has a two-headed monster running back in Robinson and Eckler. Eckler's got the best hands, arguably, in the last several years in the NFL. And he can run between the tackles too. So I actually think that he's going to end up ultimately being the feature guy and not Robinson. But either of the two of them, they're both bruisers.
Yeah.
And I believe that the Buccaneers have a defense that's kind of always been built from when they had Brady to withstand that type of damage, but they've definitely atrophied in those last 2 years, I think, to the point to where they're going to have a real hard time with the running game. And so, but who I really look to benefit most on this new Washington team is McLaurin, because he's always been a top 30 guy, but he should have, he's got top 10 potential because, like you'd mentioned with some of the other teams, they're going to have so many people up in the box, defending against potential run, that he's going to get a lot of one-on-one action, and he's been double covered pretty much his entire career over there. And so he's going to open up. They got a decent team over there. And I guess if they're only getting 3.5 against a team that actually made Philadelphia look like monkeys in the playoffs last year, Vegas has given a lot of respect to Washington, and we need to pay attention to that. So I'm taking the Commanders. Yeah, as you said, Commander in Chief, at least tomorrow.
Right. Well, I was an LSU guy. Or I'm an LSU guy. They're one of my favorite college football teams, and I loved seeing Daniels play. I'm excited to see what he does, of course, and Eckler coming back. I think that's going to be a possibility for some great stuff for Washington. We just don't know if it's going to happen yet. But hey, I'm confident that it could. So that's good. We got 3 games left here and a few minutes left here. So let's burn through these games. We got Dallas in Cleveland, and that is a 2.5 point spread. The Browns are actually favorite, 2.5. I know I'm on Dallas. What do you think, John?
I don't even know why I want to say the Browns, because I have no reason to. Who the heck is? Who do you want to be today? Deshaun Watson. I mean, he could come back and be the player he was before the rub and tug scandal, but that destroyed him. But I think the guy's paid, and so I don't know what he has inside. I don't know what's in his head. And so I just don't want to touch this. The fact that they're favored against Dallas tells me that I don't have, I just don't see enough of the picture. I don't know what's going on. Because if you ask me, it should be Dallas favored by 2.5. That's a 5-point swing right there. So, I've got nothing for you here. Sorry.
That's what's crazy about the week one. Week one is really, at least historically for me. I mean, I've been picking football games since I was 12 years old. I got out a sheet of paper and I wrote all the games down. I underlined the teams, and when they won, I would circle which team won. I kept track of it all. I kept track of the game score, and I would do the plus or minus points. So if a team wins 30-20 that I picked, you get a +10, and I would add all these up. So I've been doing this a long time, and week one is usually the worst week I have for the whole season, and it's because you just don't know. And some weeks, some week ones, these favorites win, you're like, okay, well, who the heck just picked all the favorites? Because that was easy free money. And then other years, it feels like half the games are upsets, and you're like, huh. Anyway, the bottom line is you really don't know what's going to happen. And when it comes to the Rams of Los Angeles against the Detroit Lions, the Lions are a 4.5 point favorite. And to me, I like the Lions in that game. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I think both these teams are going to be pretty good. And I kind of expect a lot of points, but I don't know. I think the Lions are just all around solid. What do you think, John?
Yeah, well, the Lions certainly are solid, but and I don't I've kind of learned to not put the total with a line or anything like that. But I'm actually most inclined to just say take the over. I mean, it came out at like 50.5, which is a ton for a week one. And you got Cup healthy, you got Puka, who set the world on fire, broke all those rookie records last year. Stafford's healthy. I think their line's healthy. Detroit, I think they got possibly the best running back in the league. And
Yeah.
once they get rid of Montgomery, he'll be able to show it, but he will be the feature guy this year. So they're even going to be stronger than they were at the beginning of last year when they whacked KC on week one.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to say I like this one going over, and that's it.
Great take. All right, we got about 30 seconds left. Can you give me a take on or just a pick for the Jets and the Niners? The Jets and the Niners, the line is 6.5. It opened up. It is now 4.5 for the